Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. We've got two big stories today. We've got one on the XRP ETFs or ETFs as a whole in the crypto world now potentially being delayed further or being accelerated. Well, the rules have changed. We were so close to the 245-day deadline in October where we were very confident we'll get all these XRP ETFs approved, but the SEC have changed the rules and the XRP ETFs are being withdrawn. So I'm going to explain that to you in a second. We've also got Swift coming out with a new blockchain proposal, bringing on 30 banks and directly trying to compete with Ripple. Or that's what people are saying on X, and everyone's saying this is the end of XRP and Ripple. But I'm going to bring you the facts, so let's go straight into it. If you have just tuned in, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let's start with the crypto ETF news. So, okay. Crypto ETF shakeup faster than expected. So the SEC has told issuers of crypto ETFs, including Solana, XRP, Litecoin, Cardano, and Dogecoin, to withdraw their 19B4 filings. On the surface, that sounds awful. It sounds terrible. It sounds bad. In theory, it's not actually that bad. It is, to me, it's a bit frustrating because we've waited 245 days plus for all these ETF filings to get past every single hurdle, every single extension, and we're coming up to a point in October, literally a couple of weeks from now, we would have had these ETFs coming onto the market. And it seems like what the SEC is asking these providers to do is withdraw these applications. Remember that 245-day deadline means that SEC had to either approve or deny. They couldn't extend it anymore. And in the experts' opinions, including my opinion, we were very, very confident they were going to approve it because there's no reason for them to deny it. But now they've done one thing. They couldn't delay it, but they can change the rules. And they did change the rules. I think it's a good thing overall, but I don't think you can ever trust the SEC, in my opinion. Anyway, here we go. So the SEC has told issuers of upcoming crypto ETFs, including, remember, it's not just an XRP ETF here. We'll plan, this was going to be, in my opinion, the beginning of that altcoin season, where other altcoins were going to get approved as well, including Solana, XRP, Litecoin, Cardano, and Dogecoin. They were going to withdraw their 19B4 filings. The SEC have basically asked them to withdraw their 19B4 filings. That's those ETF filings. Normally, those filings trigger the long 245-day review clock, which is why October is seen as the decision month. But with the SEC's new generic listing standards approved, those rule-changing filings are no longer needed. Instead, exchanges can list crypto ETFs under generic framework, just like gold or silver funds, removing the biggest procedural delay. So they've moved to a much better system, much quicker system, and one that's not just for crypto or one that doesn't have all these delays, to remove a massive procedural delay. But the issue is all these crypto ETFs have gone through these procedural delays and we're on the last stretch. So it's a bit ironic. You remove the procedural delays after we've gone through the procedural delays. So that means that the old October deadline doesn't matter anymore. And the race to market is actually sped up. That's what CoinDesk is reporting. CoinDesk is reporting that this should actually mean that ETFs could be approved tomorrow, next week, very quickly now. So what I think these issuers need to do is remove their filings and then apply again. And then once they've applied, it should be a very quick turnaround. So it could be quicker. It could be next week we get XRP ETF. It could be not the 18th of October, which was the first ETF for XRP. It could be the 3rd of October. It could be the 7th of October. But there isn't actually a date. There isn't actually once you apply, there's 45 days or 200 days or 10 days. It isn't like the other listing. So it's a little bit complicated. It's just as long as all your paperwork is correct, then you essentially you can be listed. So from here, the only step left for the SEC's corporate financial division to clear each fund's S1 registration statement, which covers disclosures and structures. So essentially, if they've got this S1 registration statement, everything is in the clear, then it should just be approved. Analysts like Bloomberg's Eric says that this makes approvals virtually guaranteed, with odds now at 100%. Timing is the wild card, so there's no fixed 45-day or 245-day deadline anymore. But since S1s like Solana's have already been amended several times, launches could come in weeks or even days. In short, ETFs aren't really being delayed. They're now on a much faster, more predictable path to markets. I'm going to explain this a bit further as well. So it's very weird, complicated, strange from the SEC to do this at this point. But it's not necessarily a delay. It's not necessarily, it doesn't, in theory, if we're taking it at face value, this is an amazing thing, and ETF should be rolling out faster than expected. And we can have a lot more crypto ETFs much quicker. So let's put this in perspective. Eleanor Terrett, a journalist from Fox Business who closely tracks SEC policy and crypto regulation, highlighted the withdrawal requests and their implications. So Eleanor Terrett was actually who broke the news, a very trusted journalist. So I am taking a word on this. Meanwhile, Eric Blackchunas, a senior ETF analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence, we've been tracking him as well, added that the new framework makes approvals virtually certain, with timing potentially moving absurdly fast. So let's have a look at all of these tweets that have just come out over the last day. Which is all about this topic, because remember, this is just breaking. We're just trying to get our head around this now. If you have just tuned in, please do hit the like button. Remember, we've got that Ripple and Swift story coming up as well. So Eleanor Terrett started this all off with this tweet here. She said the SEC has asked issuers of Litecoin, XRP, Solana, ADA, and Doge ETFs to withdraw their 19B4 filings following approval of the generic listing standards, which replace the need for those filings. So these filings, these 19B4 filings, the ones that have been in force for the last at least 200 days or 220 days. Remember, the final deadline was 245 days. That would have been on the 18th of October for the first XRP ETF. The SEC has asked these issuers, take them away. All those hurdles you jumped through, all those all the nearly 1 year of waiting, remove the filing. We're starting again with a new way of listing. So they've asked to withdraw the 19.4B filings following the approval of the generic listing standards, which replace. So now this generic listing standards are replacing the needs for those filings. She's also told that those withdrawals could start happening as soon as this week. So what we have to see first is who's going to withdraw first. Probably today, tomorrow, we're going to see some XRP providers, issuers of those ETFs start withdrawing those ETF applications and then reapplying with just the generic listing standards, and then potentially having ETFs as early as next week be approved. So the issue is that the reason I'm a bit skeptical, the reason I'm a bit annoyed about it all is because why do it now? We were 18 days away from the first XRP ETF from being approved. I don't care if we get it a week earlier. I just wanted to be certain we get it in 18 days. There is no certainty with this. In theory, it should be very, very quick because they've got these general listing standards, but there is no deadline. There's not like, since from the point they apply 1 week. There is nothing. It could be 5 years in theory. I don't think it'll be 5 years. I will take their word for it. I think this will be quicker. I do agree with Eric, and this should happen very, very quickly, and this does improve the odds. But what's frustrating to me is we waited 245 days and we were so close to that final target, and then the new rules come in place. So let's continue a little bit more. The scoop from Eleanor. This is Eric replying to Eleanor. Remember, Eleanor Terrett is that journalist. Eric is that ETF expert from Bloomberg. He says, "Nice scoop from Eleanor here. There was something. Was something we thought could happen. It makes sense that you don't need the 19B4S in the post GLS world. Just not sure how the launch schedule will work yet. More will be revealed soon." So even a senior ETF analyst expert from Bloomberg, full-time job is to understand these ETFs. He doesn't even know how the launch schedule will work. He's also said here, replying to someone else who said, this was something you thought could happen, then why did he increase the odds from 90 to 95% on ETF approvals? He now says actually that the odds are really 100% now. Generic listing standards, which is what we're moving to, makes the 19B4S and their clock meaningless. This just leaves the S1s waiting for formal green light from Corp Finance. And they've just submitted amendment number 4 for Solana. The baby could come any day, be ready. So he is very confident. And so someone was challenging him, saying, you increase your odds to 95%. Now this could mean they're much lower. Instead, Eric has said, no, the odds are not lower. Now I'm putting the odds out 100% because this new standard means there is no clock and it's just one formal green light and they can be listed within days. And it looks like Solana could be first. So in theory, this change could accelerate approvals, but given this is my thoughts, but given we're already near the old October deadline, I'm slightly cautious. Bottom line, I still expect ETFs this year and likely in October. So I am going to be optimistic. I am going to try and trust the SEC, even though we haven't trusted them for the last 5 years or forever. I'm going to try and trust them and think that this new filing system, not only is it going to be better, but it means that these ETFs will still come out in October, and if not, in October, even earlier, early October compared to when we were expecting it, because it does seem like this process is quicker, faster, and the experts such as Eric are saying that we could have any day now with Solana ETF, so an XRP ETF could be days after that. So everyone's saying that this is delayed. On X saying that we're not going to get these ETFs, that the odds are now 50%. I completely disagree with them. I think we're still going to get them. It is just slightly frustrating that we were so close and now we've got something new to get our heads around. But in theory, it could mean, and most probably we get an XRP ETF potentially next week. So my thoughts are, I think if I put my frustration aside, that we knew exactly what path we were on and that we had the certainty, I still think this is better, and I still think I still think we're 100% likely to get these ETFs this year. I think we're very, very likely to get them in October. And it's quite likely we get them next week. So get ready. These ETFs could happen next week, and altcoin season can start as soon as October starts. As well. The only other thing that everyone's talking about and creating a lot of FUD about is Swift entering the blockchain payments race, and everyone's saying XRP is going to die, Ripple's going to die. Well, I don't think so. Swift has entered the blockchain world finally, a little bit late, but they have. And let me explain to you what's going on. So Swift has announced plans to launch a blockchain-based shared ledger in partnership with Conseus and 30 global banks, aiming to deliver 24/7 near-instant cross-border payments with smart contract functionality and links to tokenized assets. Sounds like Ripple, doesn't it? So rather than replacing its existing rails, Swift will layer this new system on top of its trusted global network, allowing banks to choose between traditional messaging or blockchain settlement. The move is positioned as a direct response to growing competition from stablecoins and blockchain-native players, signaling Swift's recognition that its decades-old infrastructure needs a major upgrade to stay relevant in the evolving world of digital finance. So, on surface level, you might look at this story and think, wow, Ripple was supposed to take over Swift. Ripple was supposed to work with Swift. Swift was supposed to go bankrupt because they're not keeping up with blockchain and 24/7 payments. That was never going to happen. Swift is a payment giant and they needed to innovate. However, they are still very, very far behind. So, and what does this mean for Ripple? Well, I'll tell you now. So for Ripple, the headline might sound threatening. But in reality, it's more nuanced. Ripple and the XRP ledger already have years of real-world adoption, liquidity corridors, and regulatory testing under their belt, while Swift is only beginning to experiment with Ethereum-based technology through consensus. So remember that. Ripple has literally been doing this for over 10 years. They have been part of the XRP ledger for over 10 years. They have years of actual real world adoption, real world examples, real world understanding. They already have liquidity corridors, and they have got all the regulatory testing under their belt. Swift is only just starting this journey today or yesterday with Ethereum based technologies in 2025. They are so far behind. They'll catch up. They've got money. They can fund these things, but they are so far behind, and they don't have the real world testing. So banks are conservative and may take years to fully integrate Swift's blockchain layer, leaving Ripple room to grow its foothold. More importantly, Swift's announcement shows that Ripple's model was right all along, and this is the most important part. This has literally just confirmed the fact that Ripple has been right this whole time. This is just made investors of Ripple, the company, XRP, the token, more confident in their investors. When a payment giant, the biggest payment giant, Swift, is also following suit with something Ripple's been doing for 10 years, and Ripple's been doing it for 10 years, people are going to look at this and go, wow, someone's already been doing this 10 years. The biggest payment giant is also moving to blockchain and crypto. Who am I going to want to be invested in? Someone who's been doing it 10 years or someone who started yesterday? And what does it do? It also solidifies that Ripple was right all along. 10 years ago, Swift would have thought Ripple's stupid and that they're never going to be able to take any market share from Swift. But the fact that Swift is starting to experiment, starting to partner, starting to understand crypto and blockchain, it means it puts Ripple in a much better position, and it confirms to all investors of Ripple and XRP that they have been investing in the right thing. Remember, nothing I say is financial advice. This is my thoughts and opinions only, so please do not buy or sell based on anything I say. So Swift's announcement shows that Ripple's model was right all along, and that's massive. That gives confidence to investors. Cross-border payments need blockchain speed and settlement, but Swift is playing catch-up. The bottom line is Swift's move validates the space, but it doesn't erase Ripple's lead, especially in markets and use cases where XRP's efficiency and proven corridors already outpace traditional rails. So Swift is finally admitting Ripple was right. Blockchain is the future of payments, but arriving late to a race where Ripple has already had the head start. So those are the two big bits of information I want to bring to you. The ETF news, the Swift news, both are fairly bullish bits of news at the end of the day. If you look at XRP's price, it is down today with the rest of the market. But this could be us going into October. If we bring up the 3-day time frame on the chart, this could be the last time we might see XRP in the $2 levels. In October, we could, and I think my prediction is, again, it's not financial advice, I don't have a crystal ball. The most likely situation, in my opinion, is XRP gets back above $3, get back towards all-time highs, and we start seeing potentially $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 before the end of the year. My main target is $4.20 to $4.70. I will be taking profits there, and I think we will certainly get at least to $5 by the end of the year, and the bull market could continue into Q1 of 2026, but I think we will enter a bear market in 2026. So that is my thoughts on this. So please do check out, there'll be 2 videos over here. Please do check them out. Please do hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment down below. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.